When you're on holiday in your caravan, campervan or motorhome, you want to relax and enjoy yourself. So the last thing you want to do is spend your time trying to find a local dealer or camping supply shop to find spare parts or assistance when something breaks. So in this video, I'm going to run through all of the spare parts and tools that we've carried and used in the past 20 odd years of caravanning to fix things when it goes wrong. Hi, it's Dave T here, and over the years we've had all sorts of minor breakages with the caravan that have needed to be repaired. Some cosmetic and some that actually had to be fixed immediately so that we could use one of the van's facilities. We've also helped out other caravanners when they've had problems but not had the tools or spares to fix them. So in this video I'm going to run through a list of the spares, fixings and tools that we always keep in the van so that we can get things fixed with the minimum of fuss, along with some examples of issues we've had to solve in the past. Now some of these will need some DIY or craft skills to use them, so I'll try and break the list down into the simpler and the more advanced repairs. But remember, even if you don't feel competent to make a repair yourself, at least by having the spares, then you may be able to enlist the help of a fellow camper on site. So first of all, let's have a look at the really basic spares that will get you out of trouble with very little effort or knowledge. These are perhaps the most important things to carry, since it's often possible to borrow tools, but spares are a different matter. If a 12-volt device such as a water pump stops working, the first thing to check is the fuse. So the first thing you should definitely carry is a set of 12-volt fuses. Most vans use automotive style fuses like this, which you can simply pull out and replace. You can also usually see visually if they have blown. They are very cheap and obviously lightweight, so there's really no reason not to carry some. They are colour coded based on their current rating, and you should always use the right rating when replacing a fuse. Now a handy tip here is to check your caravan manual and have a good look around to find all of your fuse boxes, as there will likely be more than one. You should also check which colours or ratings your van uses to make sure that you have several of each in your spares kit. Remember though, if a fuse keeps blowing, then you probably have an issue where something is pulling too much current, so check that out before just replacing it again and again. Bulbs are another thing that are cheap to carry and easy to replace. A blown indicator or brake light could put your entire trip on hold, so buy a kit like this which has spare caravan bulbs in it. Now batteries are another cheap but useful spare. Check what batteries items in your van use for things like remote controls, clocks, smoke alarms, etc. Especially any uncommon ones such as button batteries. If your van has an Alco stabilizer and you are going on long trips, then you could also invest in a set of spare Alco stabilizer pads. These grip the tow ball and help stabilize the trailer and are designed to wear out. You will inevitably need to replace them at some point, so carrying a spare is not a waste of money. They are very easy to fit by just basically pressing the old ones out. Now often when things break, a simple fixing of some form like a screw or some glue will get you out of trouble. Here's a quick list of simple fixings we carry that have got us out of many a scrape. Tie wraps are really useful, cheap and lightweight, and can be used to strengthen other repairs or even at a pinch perform an emergency repair on canvas items such as an awning. Electrical tape is also just a really useful thing to have around, both for fixing minor electrical issues like a temporary repair to a frayed wire, but also to tie things together, for example to lift a dragging connector lead. Glue is another easy fix for many breakages, and we always carry epoxy glue such as Awardite, as well as something like super glue. We also keep a small tube of silicone sealant which can be used both as a glue but also to seal minor leaks. Double-sided tape may seem like an odd thing to carry, but caravan number plates are often stuck on with double-sided tape. On at least a few occasions, we've known them to have fallen off whilst the van is in storage. Having some spare tape or double-sided sticky pads with you will avoid a simple thing like this holding you up for absolutely hours. Now having a collection of nuts and bolts and screws around sounds like an odd thing to carry, but we've often found the need for them to fix things such as shower screens, blinds and so on. You are unlikely to need large screws, so try and gather a collection of different sizes of small screws and bolts, and remember with bolts to always have some matching nuts. Wires can get accidentally cut, pulled out or damaged, especially in areas where equipment is being stowed, so having a collection of electrical connectors is a good idea. Electrical wire is getting into the more advanced realm of spares, but it can also be used to tie things, so not a bad thing to carry. In the event that you need to tie things to repair them but don't want to carry electrical wire, then some string is also a smart idea. Having an issue with your water system can really wreak havoc on your holiday plans. Most vans use plastic tubing and mini push-fit connectors like these. We do have some of these in our spare box, but only because they were left over from another project. What's probably more useful is a small collection of Jubilee clips and PTFE tape. These can be used for everything from fixing leaks to repairing hoses on things like awning pumps. A new one for my spares box is this builder's tape. Now, I actually bought this plastic coated variant in Sweden to make a temporary repair to our Fiamma waste tank cap. It's readily available though in the UK, not expensive, and can be used to make all sorts of repairs, but to be fair, more of an advanced thing to carry. Now, you are unlikely to get far with many repairs without some form of tools, and ideally all caravan, motorhome and campervan users should ideally carry a decent toolkit. For the towing fraternity, this can be kept in the car to reduce weight in the caravan and also double up for use in the car when driving solo. Now, I'll start with the most basic and essential items and work up to the more kind of exotic tools. I'll start the list with this 13-pin plug tool, which helps to align your 13-pin connector plug if it becomes, well, unaligned. Now, if your cable connector does become unaligned, it's possible to realign it manually as I've shown in this video. But for a couple of quid, this tool makes it so much easier. Now, I would recommend a couple of traditional screwdrivers, both flathead and Phillips at the very least, since these can also be useful as like pry tools to open things up or even make holes in things. But I'd recommend also getting a screwdriver bit set which will cover you for any odd screw head types that you may need to undo. If the bit set doesn't include them, then also carry a set of Allen keys. Pliers and side cutters are useful to have for general repairs and cutting, but also more importantly essential for any electrical repairs. We've had occasions where 12-volt wires have been pulled out of the connectors, and in one case we actually had to cut and rejoin one of the two 40-volt cables inside the van. Weirdly, it was due to a staple that had gone through the cable during the actual original construction of the van, and only wiggling enough to cause a short about 2 years later when we were in the middle of France. Now, please note, you should only make repairs and changes to the electrical system if you're comfortable and competent to do so, especially with the 240-volt system. A basic utility knife is really useful to have and likely to be safer than trying to perform DIY with a kitchen knife. Next up has to be a basic multimeter which can test for voltage and continuity. And continuity is a fancy word for saying is there a break in the line in between 2 points. Now, these start around £10 but are a great way to take the guesswork out of identifying issues. From checking battery levels to working out why your water pump is not working, having a meter will just make life easier. You can also buy these 240-volt plug testers, which are mainly designed to check if your electrical hookup is wired correctly, but are also a convenient way to check if individual power sockets are working if you have trip issues and need to identify which sockets are affected. And also on the mechanical side, a spanner or adjustable wrench is a good idea. Finally, with the tools, having a socket set will be useful to have with you, and the most common reason I've had to use them is to tighten up bolts that have come loose. So finally, a quick mention of more unusual and potentially more costly spares that you may want to consider carrying. These are especially relevant if you'll be doing long journeys either in remote areas where van dealerships are few and far between, or abroad where different standards mean that some spares may not be available. A pigtail is the short hose that connects your gas bottle to your van's bulkhead regulator. The bottle end is usually specific to the brand of gas you use, so can be hard to come by in certain areas. We have had at least one of these fail on us over the years, and it took a visit to several not so nearby dealers to find one. If you have an air awning, then they usually come with spare valves, which you should definitely carry with you. You can also get spare pole bladders, and if you're going to a really long trip, it may be worth carrying one, but that will be taking contingency planning to an extreme level even for me. Also, consider taking spares of any specialist connectors. For example, our solar panels are connected using these MC4 connectors, and whilst an industry standard, it's not something you're likely to pick up in B&Q. And don't forget about the other accessories and things that you take with you as well. If you take bikes on holiday, then remember to take a basic cycle repair kit also. Otherwise, you could end up carrying a non-working bike for hundreds of miles for no reason. Now, my final suggestion for an emergency item to keep with you is something that unfortunately there's no convenient Amazon link for. And that's the ability and willingness to compromise and adapt. We all like our home comforts when we're away, but even the most annoying breakage or failure doesn't have to ruin your trip. You should think about repairing where possible, but if you can't, then try and find a workaround. Caravans, motorhomes and campervans are an adventure, and fixing the occasional issue just adds to the story. If you carry any spares that I've not mentioned, then please do let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you found this video helpful or at least interesting, and if you have, then please do hit that like button. If you're interested in seeing other videos I make, then please consider subscribing to my channel and hitting the bell icon to be notified of new videos. But most of all, thanks for watching.